you will have so much fun holding and snuggling your toddler and your new baby, and it's the biggest blessing in the world. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is long overdue. I usually post weekly, but we actually came down with something like COVID. I don't know for sure if it was COVID, but we were down for about a week, and by the grace of the Lord Jesus, we are back and better. On today's video, it is a special day because today my son is 23 months, which means next month I will no longer have 2 under 2 officially. And let me tell you guys, we have had 2 under 2 for 9 months now, and I just wanted to get on here and reflect and share with you guys the joys, the highs, the lows, and everything in between, in hopes to encourage another mother or parents who have just found out that they're pregnant and might be very scared, might be very terrified. Maybe you don't know anybody who's had 2 under 2. I know for me, we had no idea going into it. I found out I was pregnant like at the end of at 5 months postpartum, I found out I was pregnant, and I didn't know anything. And I'm here to kind of share my experience and how this was, and kind of to guide you guys and give you advice. I'm not an expert, but I have walked through this 2 under 2 thing for about 9 months now. And yeah, I just thought this video would be fun to just reflect on the joys and the highs and everything in between of having 2 under 2. Let's go back to pregnancy. So for many of you who are probably asking, do we plan to have 2 under 2? I would say no, we did not plan to have 2 under 2. We planned to have kids close in age, but when I got pregnant with my daughter, we really felt like God was speaking to us, and we felt like it was the right time for us to have another baby. Yeah, you know, we all know how a baby is made. So a baby was made, and she came into this world when my son was 5 months. Let me tell you, when you go through your first pregnancy, you're not really, after you deliver that baby, you're not really thinking too much about having another baby unless you want to have them close in age. But I mean, even though like you kind of have an idea or like a want to have another baby, when it becomes real, and you're like, okay, dang, I'm 5 months postpartum. I just delivered a baby out of me 5 months ago, and now there's another baby in me. Like, what? Like, it really, really, really rocks your world. And I never think that you can prepare yourself for that, because even if you're proactively trying to have a baby or just doing the deed without, you know, protection, when you get pregnant, it's just wow, like you're in shock. Even if if this isn't your second baby, like anytime that you get pregnant, you're still in shock that you're pregnant, even though you've been trying to get pregnant, you know? For me, I think the pregnancy was the hardest part of having 2 under 2, because when I had my son, I got really sick like in the first trimester for a good 15 to 20 weeks. Where I had to be on like a medication, otherwise I was throwing up literally 7 times a day. Like, it got to a point where I couldn't eat anything. I lost 10 pounds with my first pregnancy in the beginning, and I gained that back, unfortunately or fortunately. I gained that weight back, but the first trimester was the hardest part because my son was just getting into solids, so I had to start feeding him food, and food looked absolutely disgusting because I was in my first trimester. So I think that part was the hardest part, was like getting through pregnancy but also taking care of a baby, you know? So if I were to have an ideal world, I wish we would have had like more help, but for me and my husband's situation, it's just me primarily taking care of the baby, and we had help maybe here and there once in a blue moon, but mainly every single day I was with him. And it's kind of one of those things that you just have to press through, right? You can't really plan for it. You just gotta go. You gotta keep fighting. You gotta keep moving. You gotta keep taking care of this baby. You can't not take care of your baby because it's your baby, and you can't not take care of yourself because you're pregnant with another baby. So it's just kind of like a continual race, but trust me, you will get through it. After the first trimester, things just got a lot easier, right? Like I was feeling better, I was able to eat, my baby was growing, and then he started to get more active, and as he was getting active, I was feeling better. But then also when we got into the third trimester, then, you know, a whole other bucket of worms opens up, and your belly is huge. And now I had a almost 1-year-old who was walking, crawling, getting into everything, eating a lot. And you know how it is, like when you have a toddler or you have a baby transitioning into a toddler, there's a lot of messes. And when you got a big old belly, more grace to you, girl, because it is hard. It's not for the weak, okay? You have to be mentally very aware, and you have to be very mentally strong, because it is a mental game. Like your body will do it, but it's your mind that has to get your body to do it. So you have to feed your mind positive things. You have to feed your mind encouragement so that you can be able to do the things that you need to do and accomplish, and that it's not hard, right? So if I'm telling myself, oh, I'm pregnant, I don't have any energy, I'm so tired, I'm not even pregnant right now, but I felt tired just saying that. My body felt really heavy just saying that. And I'm sure for those of you hearing it, you probably hear it too. When what you speak really, really does matter. And y'all know, if you've been around this channel, that I really believe that what you speak highly matters. So if you are in the first trimester, if you are a mama who just got pregnant, I encourage you to speak positive things. Even though you feel tired, just say that you can do all things. God is giving you the strength. I have the strength to do this, you know, and that will help you way more than being negative or focusing on the hard. You really got to push through. If you're in a marathon, right, you're not going to succeed if you're telling yourself you're tired, you're telling yourself you're weak, you're telling yourself, your mind is going to give up, right? Your mind gives up first before your body does. So if you're feeding it positive, like if I'm running a marathon and I'm like, I am the greatest runner, I feel so amazing, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can continue doing that. And that is the same thing with pregnancy. Pregnancy, there's no denying that it's hard, right? You're growing a human in your belly. There's no denying that it's hard. But what are you feeding yourself? Mentally, I know for me, I had to really, really, really learn this. And I feel like God stretched me in this way, because when my husband was working and I was in my third trimester and didn't have anyone to help, didn't have anyone to bathe my son, I had to feed myself encouragement to be able to do the things that I didn't want to do, or I felt like I didn't want to do. And in that process, it strengthened the heck out of me. Literally, I became so strong mentally, physically, like to where if I look back, if I never had these kids, or if I never had 202, I wouldn't be the woman who I am today. So I would definitely say that pregnancy was the hardest part, but it's also the most crucial part that sets you up to be able to have a newborn and a toddler at the same time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would specifically say more so right before I delivered and in the early stages were the most challenging, just because of the natural factors of my belly being huge and me throwing up constantly. So yeah, that was the pregnancy part, but it was also, there were so many beautiful moments of where my son would just come up, and he's only one. He would just come up to my big belly, rub oil on it. Like he used to watch me rub oil on my tummy all the time. So one day he just came up and gave my tummy a kiss and was just rubbing my belly with oil, and I'm like, this is so sweet. There are just moments that when you have 202 are so sweet, and you really have to cherish them. Having 202 is a blessing, and I know for a fact people will harp on you for having 202. They will get all up in your business. They will say your body's not meant to do that. That's not healthy. You're already depleted of minerals. You have to ignore that completely. You have to cancel that, because that's not true. God has given me my body. He's made my body strong enough to carry this pregnancy. And if he gives me another baby, he is strengthening me to carry this baby and giving me everything that I need to carry this baby and to fulfill what he has given me. He's not going to give me an empty promise. He's just not. So you really have to, it's a mind game more than anything. There will be people that will not be happy for you, who will not understand. You have to have people that you can confide in, but who will lift you and encourage you, right? You have to, because in those moments, you will go through a lot of hormonal changes where you will feel weak, you will feel down, you will feel like at your lowest of lows. You're being challenged, like just as someone who is in a marathon, as they're being challenged breaking down their body to be able to run a long distance. You as well are being challenged and breaking down your body to be able to carry life and to carry those around you. And I think that it's a beautiful thing. I don't think that it's something that we should run from. I don't think that it's something that we should look down upon, because it is beautiful. And I really think that if we take a step and look at the beauty of pregnancy, and that God is using us to break us down and to build us up and to build a new life inside of us, I think that's so beautiful, and you cannot deny that at all, no matter how hard it is. And that is why you have to have trusted people. If you don't have anyone around you who you can trust to confide in, because trust me, there will be lows where you're crying and you have a toddler on the ground and there's nobody to help you, who are you gonna call? Are they going to discourage you? Are they gonna be like, man, you shouldn't have got pregnant, you shouldn't have done this, like in the future you shouldn't get pregnant? Like, are they gonna speak those negative things in you, or are they gonna lift you up and say, honey, this is God strengthening you in this moment. You will be better. You are a better woman today than you were yesterday. Who is speaking in your mind? Because that really, really matters. And I had to learn that the hard way. Trust me. I've talked to people who have left me discouraged. I have talked to people, and no shame on them, because I just don't think that they know, how to encourage somebody in that moment. But you have to be aware. If you don't have anybody to talk to, go into your prayer closet and talk to the Lord, because He will help you. He will strengthen you. He will give strength to your body when you feel like you have no strength. When there's nobody to help you, when everybody leaves you, God will give you strength. You should know that you have more ability and more power to do the things that God has called you to do, especially when everybody leaves you. God is strengthening you in that moment. I'm not saying that's the case for everybody, because there's families that help all the time, that are there all the time to help. But for some people, that's not really the case. So when you go into having 2 under 2, do not be afraid, because God is with you. He is going to strengthen you, and it is the most beautiful thing. The most beautiful thing. But for me, honey, pregnancy, that was the hardest, but also the most fruitful time. When I had my daughter, y'all, it was a piece of cake. Like, okay, so my kids are 14 months apart and 1 day, like exactly 14 months and 1 day. When I look back at my son at that time when I gave birth to my daughter, he looks like an infant. I'm like, oh my God, how did I give birth when my son was still a baby? Like, he just turned 1, y'all. But when I gave birth to my daughter, it was a vacation. It was easy because I put my body through so much work during pregnancy that it became easy after I delivered her. I mean, postpartum was way easier. I healed way faster with my daughter, with my second born, than my firstborn. And I truly think it's because I pushed myself during pregnancy, and I became very, very strong during pregnancy. Much like when I had my first son, I didn't have that external pressure to like keep me moving, keep me active. Yes, I was active and I'm moving, but I didn't have that pressure to make me expand and to grow, like really, really grow. So postpartum was really hard with my first. Second time around, it was a piece of cake. It was a blessing. It was peaceful. It was amazing. Make sure that you have childcare for the baby, or no, for your toddler. Make sure you have childcare when you're delivering, and after, because you're not really going to be able to take care of the toddler. So make sure your husband, your spouse, whoever is in your life who can help you is set up to help you. And we had some really amazing people who helped us postpartum with watching our son when I was in the hospital, so my husband could be there with me. So make sure you kind of have like some sort of system who can help you guys. But don't worry, if you are in this position, don't worry, because it's literally such a beautiful time, and you are so blessed if you have 202. If God gives you the grace to have 202, he will give you the grace to get out of it and strengthen you in it and through it. So I know y'all are probably wondering how birth was similar and different first and second time around. I will say that birth the second time around was way faster, not extremely fast, but it was faster. So I had kind of like a short time of labor during the entire night with my second, where I just kind of felt the contractions. They were strong enough to where I couldn't sleep. They were consistent enough to where I couldn't sleep, but they were all throughout the night. They started the night before she was born, and then she was born in the middle of the day. So we went to the hospital around 5 a.m. and then she was born around 3. It was a lot faster when you compare it to my son, because my son, I had 2 days of that, what do you call it, prodromal labor, or like my body was getting ready to go into like active labor. I had that for 2 days with him where I did not sleep. And then I had him like a full day after. Like I had him in the nighttime. So I will say the second labor was definitely easier. I almost went natural with the second. That's how fast it was. They almost sent me home, and I was like, I cannot go home. Like, I'm about to deliver this baby, y'all. Like, I can't go home. So I walked to the parking lot. I walked back in, and they admitted me like right away after I got back. And I'm like, I know, like if I would have went home, I would have delivered this baby at home, y'all, and I don't want to do that. So you know your body. Your second baby will most likely come faster, and it will most likely be easier. I pushed for 45 minutes with my first, and this time I think I only pushed like maybe 10 minutes max. Like it's real in these streets when you have a second baby. Like, it comes fast, it's quick. It's not, I wouldn't say easier, because labor isn't easy, but it is shorter in time. So I guess that can kind of make it easier. Okay, so going into the actual part of having 202, people are negative, y'all. I have received so much, like, I don't know what it is, but people just harp on you when you have 202. Like, I think when you have kids in general, like, people just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but I found that people came to me with just so much negativity. Like, oh, good luck getting them to sleep at night. Good luck managing this. Good luck having time for yourself. Like, okay, I will tell you that with 202, now this is not the case for everybody. My second child slept like a princess. I did not struggle with sleep at all. Like, so we sleep trained my firstborn 2 months before my daughter was born. So he was already sleeping through the night. My daughter started sleeping through the night, like literally within a few weeks of her being born. Like, it was easy. It was a piece of cake. And yeah, do we have hard times where like nap times don't align? Yeah, of course, but there's no, like, it doesn't ruin my life. Like, my life is not ruined because my toddler and my baby did not sleep at the same time. Like, you just adjust and you flow differently. And I think with 202, like, that is my biggest takeaway, is that you can't control everything, and you can either be hurt by that or you can adjust to it, and you can have freedom in that. So if my toddler sleeps at one time and my baby sleeps at one time, I can really let that ruin my day, or I can let it empower my day and say, oh my gosh, I get to spend quality time with the baby. I get to spend quality time with my toddler, you know, at this time, because they're not sleeping at the same time. Don't listen to the negativity, because people will come at you. I mean, even when I posted a reel that kind of blew up on YouTube, and it has like over 300,000 views of, I said, like, this is what will happen, this is what your life will look like, you know, if you give birth, what is it, within 14 months, or if you get pregnant 5 months postpartum. And people, there's a lot of negativity. Like, y'all, like, stop being so negative. Like, of course there was a lot of positive comments, and a lot of people who have actually gone through 202 who understand what I went through. They're positive, they're sweet, they're, you know, they find the video very, very, wow, like I went through that kind of thing, you know? So you have to block out the people who are negative, and it will be your own family who will be negative. It will be your own family who will be negative. I can't stress this enough. It will be literally the closest people around you who will be the most negative. People share their experiences, their negative experiences. They share what they went through, and that doesn't have to be your reality. Like, you don't have to grasp that. You can take what they're saying, but that doesn't have to be your reality, you know? Struggling during the first trimester of your pregnancy with 2 under 2 does not have to be your reality just because it was mine. It doesn't. So you have to know that people will speak a lot of fear, a lot of negativity, but you have to dust it off, and you really just have to run your own race. In terms of adjustment, I would say that it took me, my spouse, like our whole family unit to kind of adjust to this new baby being born. Probably 3 to 4 months fully. I mean, after 1 month, after I was able to be more, you know, present and moving around and doing more of the things that I used to be doing, I think it got a lot better after the 1 month. But I think like really we were strengthened after 4 months of kind of being in this routine, and then after 6 months it just became clockwork, you know, like it's something that you're used to doing and it becomes very easy. It's your new normal. So I would say give yourself a few months to fit in that adjustment period. Another thing you guys may be wondering is if we introduced or how we brought up, you know, the idea to our son that we're having another baby. And a lot of people brought this up to me, and they're like, how are you gonna introduce? Are you gonna teach him before? But I kind of thought this question to be a little bit like, what? Like, he's only 12 months. I don't really think he's gonna grasp we're having another baby. And I don't think he fully grasped that until he became like more 16 months. He didn't really want anything to do with the baby until like 16 to 18 months. So I think if you're having 2 under 2 like kind of further, I think it would be good. But for us, like my baby was so small already. I mean, he's just learning how to walk. I don't think he would have been, or he wasn't able to comprehend he's about to have a sibling. He just started walking. He just turned 1 year old. There was no way that we could really prepare him, but he did get accumulated to her. And I think because he was so young, he didn't really care that there's another baby, right? Like, it wasn't this big jealousy thing. He just adapted, and now she's in our life, and she's his sibling, and they're honestly best friends. Like, they love each other so much, and it's so sweet to see. And last but not least, would we do 2 under 2 again? And the answer is yes. I would definitely do 2 under 2 again. I think it's such a sweet time seeing the sibling bond that comes out of it. Now she's able to crawl and run around with him, and he thinks it's so funny that she's crawling and chasing him, and he's feeding her. And I think seeing that sibling bond is so sweet. And honestly, I would really want all my kids to kind of be able to be close. I know with like my siblings, we were like 4 years apart and more, so we didn't have that. We had a strong knit bond, but it wasn't like that strong knit bond of like, wow, we're walking through the same season of life, like we're babies together, we're toddlers together, like we're very, very, very close in age where we get to experience the same things, you know, at the same time. So I think that is so beautiful, and I would 100% have 2 under 2 again if it is the Lord's will. If he does that for us, I would definitely have 2 under 2 again. My husband, I don't know what his answer would be, but I'm pretty sure that he would. I hope this video encourages you. If you are someone who just found out they're pregnant, or you are wanting to have a baby close in age, I will literally give you the green light and say go for it. It will be challenging, yes, but everything in life is challenging. Like, you pick your challenges. Going to work 40 hours a week is challenging. But honestly, if you are wanting to and desire to have 2 under 2, I believe that God will see your desires, will honor your desires as you honor him. But yeah, I think it's such a beautiful thing. I don't think that is something to run from, and my advice to you is that you can do this. You have everything that you need to do this. Listen, we were in a 1-bedroom apartment when I found out that I was pregnant. with my firstborn, with my secondborn. We were all sharing a room. I was pregnant. We were still sharing a room. He didn't have any extra room. Like, you don't have to have everything together either. You don't have to don't think that you have to have like a beautiful house, a 5-bedroom house. Like, those things are good. Those things are a blessing, but we did it in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I don't think y'all understand. Like, you don't have to have everything in order for it to work out. God will make it work out. We moved into a 2-bedroom apartment, thankfully by the grace of God, when my son turned 1. So 2 months before I gave birth, we moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. We literally did not know or have any idea or think that it was even possible. We planned to all stay in a 1-bedroom apartment, but God moved us into a 2-bedroom apartment in the perfect area as well. Like, we have the perfect apartment in the place that we're living. So I will say that don't be afraid if your life doesn't look like what it should look like, or what people say that it should look like, or what you think that it should look like. Just know that God will make it all work out for you. He will. He really will, because he did it for us. Like, if he did it for us, he'll do it for you, and I am fully believing and confident in that. And you will have so much fun holding and snuggling your toddler and your new baby, and it's the biggest blessing in the world. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to close out this video now. I can hear my baby is there with my husband, but they're needing some attention, so I will go attend to them. But stay blessed. Stay tuned for more videos just like this one. Comment any questions that you might have below. Any advice if you had 2 under 2 that you would give to a new mama or a mother who's desiring to have 2 under 2. So yes, anyways, I love you guys. Stay blessed. Jesus loves you more, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye.